Hello everyone, Joel here. Seeing that a lot of people love action RPG, I thought to myself, hey, how about we listed all the best action RPGs on PC? I know that I already make diablo-like action RPG, but some people probably wanted more variations on the genre. And seeing that there are tons of action RPGs on PC, this video will act as the part 1 of the series. So don't worry if your favorite games didn't make it to this part, since it will likely get featured in the next episode. Please note that I make this list based on the action RPG elements of the game. Alright then, let's get started. Everybody knows that today Assassin's Creed is a totally different game. Initially started with a stealth action adventure game, now it evolves into the open world action RPG genre. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is the latest entry of this new formula, and to be honest with you, I don't think Valhalla is a bad game, especially not as bad as what the haters say. I mean, come on guys, can we move on already? Sure, the older game have deeper stealth and parkour mechanic, but at the same time, the newer entries offers deeper character progression, bigger exploration, and have more content compared with the previous game. If anything, I think the combat feels pretty solid with fluid animation and deeper mechanic. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but I can see that they are slowly refining their formula to delve into the RPG genre. Tales of Arise is easily the best Tales games in terms of gameplay. The combat almost feels like you play Devil May Cry but with additional party members, so you can make a fantastic combo to torture your enemies. The art style and particle effects are gorgeous, and just like all Tales games, we have a pretty good character interactions. However, I would say the overall story design isn't that great. Decent might be the best word for it, especially if you compare it with my favorite Tales games, which is Tales of the Abyss. But since I'm more of a gameplay guy, the combat alone makes this my second best Tales games of all time.
Wipe out a whole squad in seconds.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, for me, is a dream come true. Never before has the world of Final Fantasy VII looked or felt so good. Combat is much more action-oriented this time around, with real-time battles replacing the original turn-based system. However, strategy and planning still play a substantial role. The ATB gauge also makes a return, and it's required to cast spells, use items, and execute certain attacks. Even though I find the game to lack some depth in terms of character build, but the quality of its action combat is top-notch. The hack and slash aspect feels impactful and responsive. The overall combat animation is amazing, and the soundtrack is phenomenal, especially when you're fighting bosses.
Soldier first class doesn't go into the 20s.
What the hell are you talking about?
I know some people probably already played this game on PS4, but trust me, if you have PC, then you need to try this version. Better performance, better graphics, and not to mention you can use mouse and keyboard as well. This game plays a little bit more different than your typical action RPG, as it requires more methodical approach. Sometimes it feels like you're playing Souls-like, with the combat feels slower and requires more precision timing in attack or dodge. Some other time, it feels like you're playing stealth games with tools to help you to clear extreme challenges. The world design and atmospheres are also fantastic. It helps you immerse with the game as you explore the open world and fighting the enemies.
Will be removed.
Do you want to feel like a harem king, but you don't want to play visual novels? Well, Genshin Impact can be your best solution. Not only because there's a lot of waifu to choose from, but the gameplay is also incredibly polished. Combat animation is smooth with interesting elemental chain effect. This is basically the perfect applications for what you have learned on school about chemistry. Every character also have their own elemental affinities, move and skill set, which makes a lot of different playstyles. If anything, The gacha system is probably the only thing that holds back some of the players, since the rate drop can be brutal at times. Imagine playing Skyrim but with guns, robot, and post-apocalyptic world. Fallout 4 managed to make the action combat feels more intense and polished than its predecessors. The gameplay feels more solid and all the combat inconveniences from the previous entries are finally gone. Not only that, the new crafting and settlement systems are very extensive, which adds a lot of depth into the gameplay. However, I feel like the story is a bit weaker compared to the previous entries, especially with the vague storytelling. It feels like you have to find notes or terminal entries just to understand the full context of the stories. But despite all the shortcomings, the game still delivers an amazing RPG experience. So if you haven't played this game already, make sure to check it out.
The raiders are almost at the door. Grab that laser musket and help us, please!
It is impossible to recommend only one game from the series, because they almost play the same. The difference between its older and newer entries is just a more refined gameplay with additional mechanics, new weapons, and some quality of life improvements. I know some people are probably going to talk about the stories and world design, especially since the horrendous writing of Borderlands 3, but I don't really care about the story for this series in general. I just want to shoot and loot all day. There are tons of weapon variations, decent amount of character with different builds, you have so many ways to enjoy the game. I personally don't think you need to play from the first game since it's a little bit outdated in terms of mechanic, graphic, and world design, but if you want to be a completionist, I don't think it's a bad game either.
You heroes make my blood boil!
You don't say.
If you are one of those people who hates female main protagonists, then you are probably going to hate this game. But if you're open-minded enough to accept it, you will be blown away by its story, world design, soundtrack, and of course the fast-paced action combat. It's a hack and slash game, but also carries aspects of bullet hell, open world exploration, and of course an RPG progression, which means there's going to be a build variety with different playstyles. The combat movements feel solid and tight, make you feel badass when you're finally able to overcome the bosses or difficult encounters. One quick reminder though, just prepare some tissues because you're going to need it, one way or another.
Pod program down.
Do you want to play a game that just cut all the bullshit and just straight up to the action? Don't worry, cause Hades is going to be your best friend for a long time. Hades is basically an action roguelike that also features RPG elements. You have a wide variety of builds and playstyles that changing every run depends on the run itself, and not to mention the fast-paced action combat that feels tight and responsive. Roguelike games can be hard and punishing at times, but Hades is somewhat able to make the tedious aspect completely non-existent. If anything, these games kinda teach you how to embrace the pain and be better. If you are one of those people who have hard times enjoying roguelike, Hades can be a very good game to start. Do you want to get rid of your Diablo addiction with something healthier? Well, I don't know about healthy, but I know that Grim Dawn can be your next addiction. With its extensive character building, stellar combat, crazy amount of loot and amazing level design, Grim Dawn has set the bar very high for the isometric action RPG. Even for some people, including me, this game has surpassed Diablo in so many ways, especially in the build variety aspect. The game also full of interesting dialogue and well-written textbooks that truly immerse you into the game. But I have to say that the overall story isn't overly outstanding. Decent might be the right word for it. Seriously? You still want me to talk about Skyrim? Did you time travel from the past or what? There's a lot of things that you can do in this game. You want to hunt dragons? No problem. Want to play medieval Metal Gear Solid with bows and arrows? Why not? Want to get married? Sure. See, just buy this game and play it already. And don't forget to watch YouTube on how to install mods. You're going to need it.
Good news first. Captain of the Nilfgaardian.
If you hate your life and searching for a new way to live, The Witcher 3 is kind enough to let you stay on its world. There is a lot of exploration, gathering, crafting, and of course action combat. There are so many bosses that you can fight in this game, whether it's from the main story or side quests. You might think for an action RPG, this game doesn't have an interesting amount of build to play with, but that's when you're wrong. Remember, you are the Witcher. You don't play with stats variation. Instead, you play with a wide variety of alchemy potions and spell usage. But let's cut all the bullshit, okay? Everybody knows that The Witcher 3 is basically a waifu game, but for Western people. If that is not enough incentive to make you play this game, then I don't know what will. Cause surely Roach isn't available, right? Remember the old Monster Hunter when you have to prepare a lot of things and doing a lot of precision move and positioning? Now it doesn't feel like that anymore. Is it bad? Well, not really. I personally still enjoy the game. There's still a lot of monster variety, armor, and weapon to grind. Basically, there are still a sheer amount of content to offer. Sure, now the game feels a lot more streamlined. You can track down monsters pretty easily. Combat extremely fast-paced compared to the older ones. It almost feels like you're playing Devil May Cry but with Monster Hunter costumes. Some people are surely going to hate it, especially the older generation. But if you're one of those people who finds it hard to enjoy the older Monster Hunter, this game might be the game changer for you. Okay, remember when I say Grim Dawn is the healthier choice to cure your Diablo addiction? Well, turns out there's another way to cure it, but it's going to cost you everything. Path of Exile is currently the strongest contender for overthrowing Diablo from its isometric action RPG throne, if not already. The amount of content is extremely massive, not to mention they always release a few big updates every year. It makes the game feels fresh and engaging even for the veterans. Oh, and don't make me start with the build variation. In short, if you hate Diablo and yourself at the same time, this game is the only way. Imagine playing Souls game, but with jump and riding mechanic. Previous From Software games already providing such a unique combat experience with a lot of weapon arts and build variation. And to think that they managed to elevate this experience without losing their identity is just phenomenal. Not only they nail the action RPG part, they also nail the open world aspect of the game. There's a lot of content and exploration to do, but somehow it doesn't feel overwhelming at all. Trust me, if you haven't played this game already, you're missing a lot in this life. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that this is still part 1, and of course there are still other best action RPGs that I haven't mentioned yet. So how about sharing your best PC action RPG games that probably deserve the spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace.